Hello. Surprise, surprise. It's Kathleen coming to you from the Maine Strong Balance Center, and we're here today for our 5th virtual balance class. Thanks for joining us, and we're going to start around 9:30, so stay tuned for a few more minutes here while everyone gets settled in. Welcome, welcome. I think I will show you a little bit what this ladder is about. I'll head on back and be a little bit of exercise entertainment for the morning. And I'm back. So that's our ladder. I think I've been showing off a little trick every time we start for the past few weeks, and it's kind of nice that we get to use all the things that are hanging around in the clinic that our therapists use here clinically. So this ladder, it's laid out on the floor, it's adjustable. Each block can be a little bit smaller, medium size, larger. There's all little color-coded embroidery on the side, so you can adjust these as you like. And it helps you to have a target as you're stepping. And this is something that we use in practicing balance exercises, and it's one of the ways that we can improve balance. And there's a lot of different patterns that you can do that might work laterally. So as you saw, I was kind of moving side to side as I was doing the stepping pattern. And there's some forwards and backwards, so it can help us in all sorts of ways as we step throughout our daily lives in building a little bit of strength, and then also some confidence on our feet moving in a variety of directions. So that's that. That's our ladder. I am checking in. Looks like we've got a couple more people on board. So I'll reintroduce myself. My name is Kathleen, and I am a balance class instructor from the Maine Strong Balance Center. And that's where I am currently. This is our clinic. We've got all sorts of tools and things. That's one of our harnesses. We've got 3 of those that allow us to work on balance training at a little bit of a higher level. And we've got some tables there in the back. As you can see behind me, we've got a couple different assistive devices. So there's all sorts of things that we use here. Hello, good morning, Susan. Nice to see you. Great. Yeah, so it's wonderful to have everyone. We're gonna work on some balance exercise, both targeted balance exercises that work on the balance systems of the human body, and then also some strengthening exercises that will focus on strengthening our lower limbs and all the muscle groups associated there with balance. So that's what we'll be up to. We've got a few more minutes here before we get started, so hang out for a little bit, get yourself set up in an area that makes sense for these types of exercise. I will have a chair handy, and I would recommend that everyone have a chair handy, something sturdy. We're going to use it both during the strengthening, coming from sitting up into standing, and then we're also going to use it as a bit of a point of stabilization during our balance exercises. So this is why you really want to make sure it's sturdy. You're going to be putting some pressure into it, some weight into it, and then also as we rise and come back down, we want to make sure our chair stays. All right. And you can also use a kitchen countertop, the corner of a room, a couple different options there for finding yourself your safe spot to set up for these balance exercises. If you're in the corner of a room, if you have one available, You'll kind of have both walls to the side of you as you're doing these exercises. Good morning, Joan. Oh no, goodness. Our internet, it's a best friend and then the worst friend at the same time. I appreciate that comment. I run into trouble with mine at home all the time. But I hope you stay connected. And hello, good morning, Larry. Awesome, so good to see everyone popping in there. I'm excited to have people here for balance class. It's always a good thing to share. All right. Good morning, Days. Hello, nice to see you. I hope you and Bob are having a good time getting up and getting into this exercise. It's the best way to wake up on a Monday morning, I think so. It gets me pretty energized. I feel like it's a great way to reset the week, and you start to feel balanced as the day goes on. So we'll do this all together. Many of you have already started using the comment section. If you do have any questions, anything comes up throughout the class, pop right in on the comments. I'll try to read them as we go on so I can answer verbally. Oh, it's Susan using Larry's. Got it. Wonderful. Yay. Even better. Nice to see you. Great. So I think that we'll get started with our warm-up. And for that, everyone's going to come back to their chair, take a nice seated position. I'm going to roll this ladder back before we do get started so that it doesn't get in my way. Kind of feel like Vanna White doing that, like really nice movement sweeping across. All right, so here we are getting ready for our warm-up. The very first thing that we want to pay attention to, we're going to get our body in line in a way that supports us well. I'm streaming to the residents of Save a Lodge. Wonderful. Thank you, Angie. So great to share. Oh, how great. Hope everyone there is doing well and enjoys this practice. All right. So with our warm-up, the first thing, like I said, let's get our body in line and let's pay attention to these different posture cues that keep us upright and supported, using our muscles and using our breath. So these are really important things to pay attention to, both for this exercise class, but also in your daily life. If you're sitting at the kitchen table or in your car, really anytime, any point of the day, you can keep these things in mind to protect yourself in an active sitting position. You're going to want feet about hip width apart, pressing down into the floor. As you add that little bit of pressure, you can feel your muscles wake up, start to get active. You can kind of start with one, leaning to the side and feeling the weight distribute into the right and to the left, and then leveling out in between. Just a morning wake-up call for our legs. And then you'll want to have your knees pointed out straight in front of you. Your hips will tuck under just a little bit, so this is our pelvic tilt. Sometimes we sit in such a way that we've got it coming back and out, and that puts some added pressure on our low back. So it doesn't have to be a terribly exaggerated tilt, but just get yourself a little bit taller here, tilting forwards, kind of like you're tucking your tailbone underneath of you. Okay, our next step, keeping the chest down. Sometimes we'll rib flare out here, so keep our chest in, belly tight to do so. Shoulders are relaxed at our sides. Kind of let all that tension from the neck hang out. And the last thing is our little bit of a chin tuck. So this kind of lengthens the cervical spine, all of the bones in the neck, tucking the chin in just a little bit. And we will begin by practicing some breathing as we raise hands to the ceiling for our inhale, and exhale hands down to our center. Raising again, inhale through your nose deeply. Exhale out the mouth. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Really think about filling your belly. Our muscle, the diaphragm, that's associated with breathing. Sometimes we don't give it as much of a chance as we should to wake up. Just like our legs, it needs a wake-up call as well. So kind of getting this breathing going, paying attention to our breathing can help activate that muscle, help us sit a little taller. All right. We have our breath. Now we can go forward and move on to the body a little bit more. We'll do some neck rolls, and for these you're just going to bring your head around in a circular motion. So we're rotating the neck. We are only going as far as feels good, so if there's any discomfort with this, you can make your circles a little smaller. Doesn't have to be a really exaggerated movement, just let yourself find some subtle stretching here. A little bit of cracking is okay. And switch directions. All right, bring your head back to neutral. And when it arrives there, we'll do some shoulder rolls. For these, you can keep your hands placed on your thighs. And we're going to first really, again, dropping your shoulders just to let all the tension relieve from your neck, and rolling backwards. So your shoulders are traveling up to your ears and down your spine and back up again. Got another comment there. I couldn't quite see it from my seat, so I'm gonna get a little closer, but keep going with these shoulder rolls. We've got a comment, is cracking waking up of muscles? So with the cracking, it's actually your bones and your joints there in between the vertebrae of the neck, and it's more so them kind of communicating with each other a little bit. And as much as it sounds kind of scary, it's not as bad as you may think, and it's fairly normal to get a little bit of cracking there. All right, switch directions, roll forwards. And again, relieving all that neck tension, letting this action come from your shoulder muscles. So you really want to use these, I can't quite show you, but in between your shoulder blades there, that's the space that you want to feel this in. Really feel it there. Let those muscles cinch together, drawing your shoulder blades together in the back. All right, rest your shoulders. And we'll move on to our hands and our arms. So you're going to cross your arms so that your hands are down by your hips. Close your hands into a fist. And then we're going to bring our hands up and open our palms at the same time. Okay, so coming across your body with closed fist, opening up with open palm. All right, and you can give a little pressure as you close the fist at the bottom, a nice tight squeeze. We're getting some blood flow to our hands and through our arms, really waking everything up. After a kind of a rainy, sleepy morning out there in Maine, at least. Not sure where everyone is coming from, but we've had a slower morning here for sure. All right, bring those hands back down, and we'll take each finger here and kind of give that a little touch. So if you've got your hands in front of you, and you want to touch each finger to your thumb, again, with that little squeeze, bit of pressure, a little bit of concentration too, right? This is kind of a game in a way. You're like, okay, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, pinky. I did it. And then just keep repeating. You can go backwards, pinky to ring, to middle, to index. It's a good concentration task before we get started. All right, and you're done with those. We're gonna move on to the lower body. And for lower body, we'll start by opening up our hips a bit. And to do that, you're going to lift foot. We'll start with the right leg, so you can lift the foot of your right leg and bring it out to the side. And do this repeatedly, so you're bringing your foot outward, back inward, lifting in between, taking a step, trying to keep your torso straight. You don't have to go terribly far. Again, all of these are really just about getting the body warm, so finding that motion. This should feel good. So if there's any discomfort, you can limit your motion and just get a little bit, whatever's working for your body. Let your body speak to you. All right, switch sides over to your left. And alternate right side and left side. We're getting there. When you are ready, bring both legs back to center. And here we are going to get through our seated march. So this one should get our heart and lungs kind of working together in unison, ready for some activity, some more cardiovascular type warm up. And we're just gonna do a little bit here. So arms are getting active, knees are lifting. And with each step, with each in place step, you're gonna press into the ground. So really get that pressure going again, lighting up the muscles. And we're going. We're just gonna keep going. We're doing a whole marathon, seated, marching in place. All right, we're not doing that, don't worry. We're doing balance. We're doing some balance exercise. So you can slow that right down, come to a stop, and really good work on that. That's always a lot of breath for the morning. And we'll do our ankle warm up next. For the ankle, we like to do something that gets a lot of movement right in the joint. So instead of just taking like a circle, we like to write with our big toe. So imagine as if your big toe is a pencil and the floor is your beautiful canvas. And you're gonna be writing with your right and left foot. We'll start with one, then do the other. On our right side, we could write beautiful canvas. Then we might feel a little artistic. That would feel good, right? Maybe think of your favorite color and write it in that. All right, so right foot, you're writing beautiful canvas. And this is good because it gets us to kind of move the ankle in unconventional ways. So it's really hopefully getting every angle of the warm-up in. And really you want to limit that motion to your ankle so that you can kind of feel that joint waking up. All right, on our left side, on the topic of art, what could we do? We could do, can't think of a thing. Rainbow? That's good. That's color. It's raining. Maybe we'll get one of those later if we're lucky. All right, rainbow. Rainbow with your left foot. I always put a lot of thought into those. I think it matters. Rainbow. And then draw one. Ha! Even better. get yourself a couple lines going there. We don't quite have the colors to do it, but we can imagine. All right, there we are, we're warm. I'm gonna take a sip of water. Looks like we have a few more people on board that have joined, so good morning and welcome. My name's Kathleen, and we'll be going through a whole bunch of interesting and wonderful exercises today, all relative to balance. And we're coming from the Main Strong Balance Center, and that is really what we do. We have a focus on balance here as a physical therapy clinic. So although we have all sorts of expertise in the entire field of physical therapy, balance is really the underlying thing that we pay attention to when treating people one-on-one. And then also in offering classes like this to the community. This is our 5th virtual balance class, so things are a little different on here, but let us know about your progress or anything you might want to contact us about. It's exciting to have a little bit of, a community growing on here, but at the same time, we'd love to hear from you and talk to you one-on-one or anything like that, just to get some feedback on the class. I think that's all. I think we'll get started in with our balance exercises off the bat. And for these, we're going to want to use the stable surface that I was talking about. So whether it be the back of your chair, a kitchen countertop, the back of a couch, anything that's really secure that gives you a point of contact throughout these exercises, because they can be a little tricky. And you might find yourself a little bit wobbly, and that's good. That's where our body learns. Okay, so I'll show you the balance exercises. I'll show you the balance positions that we use for the balance exercises. That's what I meant to say. So the very first one, this is position number 1, feet together. So feet are touching each other. If my palms were the soles of my feet, they look like this on the ground. So our feet are scooted in very close to each other, touching in the middle, and at the same level. They're parallel to each other in a way that the toes are at the same level, the heels are at the same level. In our next position, position number 2, semi-tandem, we slide one foot forward, okay? So you notice the heel of my front foot is touching the instep of my back foot. That's a little trickier. Position number 3, full tandem. Heel of my front foot is touching toe of my back foot. So my feet are like I'm walking a tightrope, and they remain here. So these are exercises that we do using the back of our chair as a point of stabilization. We do give ourselves the opportunity to stand freely as we're here, but you want your chair or your surface or whatever it is that you're using nearby so that you can reset yourself and come back to your position with a little bit more confidence that way. Okay, so in the way that these positions are 1, 2, and 3, they work in a progression, starting with number 1. If this is your very first time doing these exercises, I would say this is the place to start. This is where you really want to get comfortable and master this spot before you move forward to position number 2, semi-tandem. Okay, and then in the same way, you want to master this before you move on to your full tandem. All right, so without going into too much detail, we'll do a little warm-up. And if you work in a position and you know which one you like, you can get right into it. If you are starting, I would start in position number 1. We're going to stand in our position for a minute. All right, so everybody get into your position. Kind of use your chair or whatever surface you've got to stabilize yourself. Release when you're ready. And let your body do this work. So through this, your body is learning how to make adjustments to keep you stable, and your brain interprets all of that information and sends out messages that also keep you stable. So that's kind of how, through time, we do this. We give ourselves the chance to feel a little uncomfortable. And as we do, our bodies learn, our balance gets better, our balance improves with these types of activities. A couple more seconds, keep it up. All right, you can come out of that, shake the legs out, switch sides if you are in position number 2 or 3, and switching sides just means bringing your opposite foot forwards. If you're in position number 1, you can keep feet right together, and we're going to do this for another minute. A good sign that you can move forward onto the next position relative to the exercise that we're doing, really. So we're going to do some variations of this. We're going to close eyes, we're going to do some head turning, all sorts of variations. So relative to each exercise, if you can hold the position for 30 seconds without resetting, stably and confidently, then you can go on to the next position. So that's your signal, that's your indication. I can try the next position once I've mastered the first one for 30 seconds. More is even better, but 30 seconds is right around the time frame that you should be able to test out that next position. All right, I talked for the whole minute. Good work, come out of that. We've got using third position, which leg carries weight? We've got a great question here. So in the full tandem position, position number 3, if you see my feet, the way they are set up, the back leg is going to hold a little bit more of this weight just because of the way that our center of balance falls. You can try to even that out by leaning forward a little bit, but really however you're getting that activity is going to be valuable, especially as you're switching sides. You know, you're going to have a little more weight in the back leg as you're doing this. Or you'll likely find that you'll have more weight dispersed into the back leg. All right, the next component that we'll add in, we'll do the same thing, but with eyes closed. As we do this, very important that you've got your surface nearby. You can hover your fingertips right over it. And if you'd like to, spend a couple seconds first in a normal stance with eyes closed, just getting comfortable with that sensation, because it is rather different than having eyes open. So once you've gotten comfortable there, you can bring it into your balance position and work through this. So eyes are closed and you're in your balance position. You're just maintaining. You're maintaining as well as you can. You're hovering with your fingertips, knowing that you've got something nearby to lean onto as needed. All right, open your eyes. Let your body weight shift out a bit. We're going to do that same thing on the other side. So a couple things to keep in mind before you start. You can change your balance position as often as you need to. Like I said, with all these different variations, you might find that one position suits a certain exercise better. So with eyes open, you may be working in full tandem. But with eyes closed, it might feel that you're resetting every 5 seconds, or that you feel just farther out of your comfort zone than you should. So you can adjust backwards into semi-tandem, and you'll gain more from the exercise if you're working through it in a way that you're challenged but still comfortable. So that's where you really want to be as you're doing these exercises. All right, we'll switch sides and we'll do eyes closed for about another minute, a pinch longer than a minute, just to give everyone a long opportunity to practice. All right, so eyes are closed in your balanced position. And I will tell you why we close our eyes. So keep doing this, keep up with it. We're closing our eyes because they are one of our biggest balance systems. We have 3 big balance systems that we talk about in here the most, and there's many other systems in the body that contribute to balance. But vision is one of the top ones. It's one of the main contributors to our balance success. When we take vision out, it makes our other systems work harder. We receive so much information about our surroundings from what we see that when we can't see, our brains have to work a little more efficiently to tell our bodies what to do. So through practicing this, we might get a little bit better at daily balance. So not necessarily at balancing with our eyes closed. That's not, we may get better at that too, but the goal of this is to enhance those other systems and make them work a little harder. Keep it up, eyes closed in your balanced position, a few more seconds. All right, good work, come out of that. You can lean on your surface, let your legs have a little rest. The next thing we're going to do, we'll do a mental distraction. I've already been distracting you quite a bit by explaining things as we're doing this, and it's good. It might feel a little frustrating as the exercises go on, but it's actually really applicable to your everyday life because in a normal, setting, typically we're a little bit distracted. We might not always have a clear-cut opportunity to think about our balance. So as distractions come up in our exercises, they'll help us with those distractions in everyday life. So what we'll do a dual task type thing. So we'll do like 2 different patterns in our head. And some of you are probably really familiar with these and probably angry at me for incorporating it, but they're great. They're really good. You don't have to get all the answers right, that's for sure. You'll be standing in your balanced position with eyes closed again, and we will do alternating between 2 different, we're going to spell something and then also categories. So we'll be spelling, what should we spell? We'll spell balance class because that's the first thing that came to my mind. We'll spell balance class, and then we'll be listing different types of animals, okay? So you'll be B, cat, A, dog, L, and so on. When you get to the end of balance class, keep going. So just cycle back through. This will keep us busy for a little while, in a good way. All right, everybody join me. Come into your balanced position. Eyes are closed. Spelling balance class. And alternating between that and listing animals. All right, did we run out of animals? Had you do that for quite a long time, but that's good. It's good work. Again, no need to be correct about anything. If you spelled balance class, schmalance class, that's fine. The whole point is try to stay focused on a task as we're doing this. Okay, so the next one that we'll do, you will be counting up from the number counting up by the number 3 from the number 11. So that'll sound like 11, 14, 17, 20. And then you'll be listing as many words as you can think of that start with the letter CL. So like clock, or clutter, or clementine. All right, so as many of those, if you run out of CL words, just go to C, okay? So do this with me. Switch sides. If you're working in position number 1, keep feet together. We're gonna go 11, clock, 14, clutter, 17, clasp. Okay, so keep going with that. Keep going. You've got it. Keep going. Okay, let go of that. Let yourself rest a bit. Breathe. Reminder to breathe. Always good to keep in mind, as we all very much so need it. Good work. Those distractions can be really tough and frustrating even, so working through them is really a helpful way to improve balance, and also good work. It's pretty tough. All right, next we'll do some body weight shifting. So as we do this, you're going to again be in your balance position behind your surface, and we're going to be shifting forwards and backwards to start. So you're taking your position. Again, if you're starting out, I would trial this in position number 1 first, then work your way through that progression. But what we're doing, we're forwards and backwards, body weight shifting. And as we do this, you want this motion to come from your ankle. So you can kind of see my body is like all together, kind of pulled up on a string. And as I'm shifting, my ankle is doing that work. So it's easy to kind of feel this in our hips or our knees, but really letting the rest of your joints kind of stay soft so they don't have to be completely locked and fully extended. A little bit of softness in the knee is a good thing. Same in the hip area, that pelvic tilt forward. And then just forwards and backwards. Your toes can lift as you rock to the back, and your heels can lift as you come forward. You want to have your surface nearby, but allow yourself that independence to kind of work it out on your own. Let your body work it out. All right, we'll switch sides. And we'll do this next with eyes closed. So on the opposite side, again, you'll be forwards and backwards shifting, but you'll have eyes closed this time. So again, change your position as needed and if needed. Otherwise, stick with the position that you've got. And the idea is always to be able to stand independently for 30 seconds before moving on to the next position. So really kind of mastering it before moving forward. And there's a couple different things at play here as we close our eyes and also make for the shifting motion. Our joints are kind of learning, our joints and our skin and our muscles along the way down are kind of learning different areas of weight distribution and how to react to that in a way that's successful. And then as well as, with our eyes being closed, we've got less information coming in. So those systems have to work a little bit harder. All right, you can come out of that one, shake the legs out, and we will do opposite side, or switch your footing back to wherever you had started with these body weight shifting exercises, and we'll do side to side now. And this is with eyes open on this first side. And again, if you can see me here, you can see how my body weight shifting is still coming from the ankle. And it's less of a movement, less drastic of a movement than the forwards and backwards. We can see that really well. We can feel that very, largely as we move forwards and backwards. We have less space to move to the left and right, so you'll find that this motion is smaller, and that's okay. You just want to really be coming to the edge of your the right side or the sole of your foot, and then the left. So distributing that weight onto each side, using your surface as needed. Excuse me. All right, you can switch feet, so switch your footing when you're ready, and we'll do this eyes closed on this opposite side. So eyes closed, side to side. Keep breathing. Keep going, you've got it. Just a little bit more. All right, open your eyes. You can kind of rest behind your station here. I'm gonna go over the next exercise that we're gonna do and tell you a little bit about why we're doing it again. So we're doing some head turning in our balanced position. When we move our head relative to our body, so if our body is pointing straight forward and my head is turning to the side or upward or turning around to look at something on the back wall, so we make these motions throughout the day constantly. And as we do, our vestibular system, our inner ear, is active. It's also very active as we're moving in a vertical plane, so that means like rising from a chair, and then also in a horizontal plane, so as you're walking and maybe turning your head as you're doing so. So there's all sorts of times where this system really plays a role in kind of equalizing our balance and our feelings of balance in our own bodies. It's also a system that's responsible for different forms of dizziness. Most people are very familiar with like vertigo type feelings, and that's something that this system is responsible for. So if you've got any sort of like dizziness or lightness of head while we're doing these activities, you can take a seat. If it's very mild, you may feel that way as you're doing it, and that's okay. That means the system is active, and working through that sensation is hopefully going to strengthen. But if you do have any moment where you feel that you need to take a rest, please go ahead and do so. All right, we're going to get started with our left and right head turning first. So you will come into your balance position, and we will turn our head to the right and to the left. This is with eyes open, so you can pick a focal point on either side of you if that helps. You can kind of track in the middle. So try to make this a smooth motion from turning from one side onto the other. Switch your footing. And we will next do this in the up and down direction. So we'll be looking up to the ceiling, down to the floor. You can keep going with that. We change the direction between left and right and up and down because it works on different parts of that system. So in the horizontal plane, it's working one part, and then vertical, it's working another. So we try to work both of those out to strengthen those different pieces of the system. All right, you can switch your footing once more, and we will do this head turning with eyes closed. So on the first side, we'll do up and down with eyes closed. And as with any other exercise that we've been up to, really first, maybe try this in position number 1, get a feel for it, and then work into position number 2, onward to position number 3 when you feel comfortable enough to do so, standing independently. And also that progression you don't have to go through that in one day. That's really over a span of time, really monitoring your own body and maybe, really using that 30-second check mark as a means of moving on to the next exercise position when you're ready. All right, so we're doing this. Maybe you've already been doing it, I don't know. But we will do up and down with eyes closed. Right, we'll switch sides. So switch your feet around, and we'll switch directions. Eyes are closed, left and right. Right, open your eyes. Readjust, say hello to the world with eyes open once more, and you can come around for a seated break. So hop right into your chair, whatever you've got around, and take a rest here. Really good work. Really good work. Yeah, if you've got any questions, please, you can comment them here or contact us separately. All of our contact information is on the page. I think we're going to move on to strengthening exercises next. So these are going to pay particular attention to our legs for the most part. We've got a couple different ones that we typically work with, and they're really valuable for balance. And I think we're just going to hang out for another minute here so that we can all take an adequate rest for all the work that we just did. Get some water if you need some. I know I did. All right. So I'll go into what this first exercise is going to look like. You can remain seated. We're going to actually be using our chair. This is the sit to stand exercise. So we will be sitting and coming up into standing from that. If you've got something with arms on it and you kind of need those for a little assist on coming up, then you can feel free to push off. Use every day for how long? Oh, we've got a good question here before I do get into more detail about frequency. Should you do these every day and for how long? So in terms of the balance exercises that we just did, a lot of exercise does have kind of a particular prescription to work by. In terms of the balance exercises, there's no like one exact weekly dosage or daily dosage or anything like that. But working through those as much as possible would be helpful in improving your balance. The goal is about 50 hours. So if you put an hour in, every 3 days, or if you put an hour in every 2 days, or if you put an hour in every day, you're going to get to that 50-hour cumulative goal at a different rate. It sounds a little funky, but I think that is the check mark for when people really start to feel that it's about a 20 to 40% improvement in balance. Confidence is the marker that's used. So that's really the time span. Incorporating these over a time span is really what helps the most. And what's reassuring about that is if you miss a day or 2 or 3, you can hop right back in and your progress will continue. With the strengthening exercises that we're about to do, these are a little bit different. I think the recommendation would be to do them about 3 to 5 times a week. But then again, it's tough to say what dosage you should be working with at an individual level for, how many reps and how many sets to do. So that's a little bit more of a tricky question in terms of personalizing it. But I would say you could keep up with them a few times a week, and that would really make an impact on your balance over a little bit of time. That's the general recommendation for strengthening exercises. All right, so here we go. This is our sit to stand. We got a little bit of a longer seated break. That's a good thing. Our sit to stand, you can stay seated for a second here while I demonstrate. It looks like this. You are sitting in your chair, paying attention to those good posture cues. So feet are about hip width apart. Knees are pointed out straight in front of you. You're slid forward on your chair. So you want to be, instead of being back here kind of relaxing on vacation, you want to be active and slid up towards the edge of your seat, not too far. You don't want to be too far ahead, but the closer you get here, the easier that the mechanism of standing will be, and also the better that your posture will kind of help your muscles to get you through that. So here we are, we're sitting on the edge of our seat, knees pointed out straight in front, crossing your arms as you are able. If you need, again, like I said, to push off of a chair, go ahead and do that. But what we're going to do, ideally, if it seems accessible, arms are crossed and you're standing, and we're coming back down to sit. We're going to do a couple sets of those. We're going to count to 10 in each set, but that doesn't mean that 10 is the number that you need to hit. If you need to do 8 or 5, split those in half. Pay attention to what your body's telling you. If you've got any sort of pains going on, maybe you can even contact us if you need to, but if you've got anything that seems concerning, maybe limiting those reps to start might be a good idea, especially if you're just starting out. Start smaller and work your way up. All right, we've got, okay, so crossing your arms as you're able. We're going to count to 10 for these all together. Here's 1. Here's 2. I'm going to slide backwards a little bit so you can actually see what I'm doing. Here's 3. 4. Keep yourself nice and steady on your way down. Here's 5. So there's a lot of strengthening that comes from even the way down, so try to control that as best you can. Here's 6. 7. Sometimes I think it's easy to think the way up is like, oh, that's the important part, but the whole thing's important. Here's 8. Find that control. Here's 9. Last one in this set. Here's 10. Great job. All right, we're getting through them. We got a couple more to do, and we're going to do them a little differently for the next 2 sets. So what that means, our feet were just right across from each other, parallel to each other. We're going to stagger our stance by sliding 1 foot forward, and similar to when we're working in the balanced position of tandem or semi-tandem, the back leg will feel more as we're doing this. So the back leg will receive more of our weight distribution and get a little bit of extra work. So we're isolating whatever leg's in the back, and we'll switch over to the other side so we get attention on both sides for these. Okay, same idea. Arms are crossed or out in front of you, and you're lifting through this. 1, 2, 3. Remember to breathe as you're moving up and down. I was thinking about my breathing and I completely lost count. I hope everyone made it to 10 or whatever number is working for them. Keep it up, we'll switch over to the other side. I was totally like, oh, remember to breathe. Okay, I will. And then just got going. That's a good thing. All right, we'll switch over to the other side when everyone is ready. And we'll do this opposite leg, staggered stance, isolating the back leg through these exercises. I'll remember to keep count this time so we don't all lose track. Good. All right, still getting used to this whole looking at a camera thing, right? If I'm looking around at people, someone yells at me and said, hey, you forgot number 7 or something like that, but we'll get there. All right, last set, 10 more. Whatever number you're working with, we'll do this on our opposite side. 1, 2, 3. Find your control on your way down. 4, 5. Keep it up. This is hard work, but it pays off. Here's 6. 7, 8, 9. Last one. This is all we've got. Here's 10. Okay. Bring it back down. Kind of shake your legs out a little bit here. We're gonna move behind our chair for our next exercise. If you'd like to revisit that surface that you were using, we're just gonna need something to have a little bit of support. So find yourself there, and I'll show you how to do this next one. Okay, so again, during this exercise, a little bit different than the balance, you'll want to be holding on to whatever's in front of you. This will help you to stabilize your torso and really work on the leg that's coming out to the side here. And if you do, or you've been practicing this for a while, you can do it freestanding, but I really recommend, especially if you're starting, hold on, use this extra cushion of support, and then once you've got the form down, once you feel comfortable, if you'd like to, you can do this freestanding. But here we are, we're standing behind our chair, hands are placed in front of us, and we're going to put all of the weight into one leg. You can start by putting all of your weight into your left leg, and here you want to be lifting through the rest of your body. So really, instead of sinking that weight in, try to keep your torso strong and your neck tall, and really think about all of those things as you're shifting this weight. So rooting down through the left leg, right leg, working leg, comes out to the side, just like this. Okay? So I'm going to start over, and we're going to do 10 here together, just like this. We're going to keep them slow. The slower we keep them, the more time our muscle spends under tension. So in this case, it's gravity that we're working against, and that's how we're getting this strength building. Okay, here we go. All of the weight going into your left leg, really root down. Right leg comes out for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, find your control on your way out and on your way in. There's 6, 7, 8, 9, last one, 10. All right, so for those, you should be feeling it in your side glute area. This is your gluteus medius muscle, and it's one that we pay close attention to in balance because it helps us with one-legged activities, which include things like walking and using stairs. So as we're doing these activities, this muscle is hard at work, and by keeping it stronger, we might feel a little more confident and more endurance as we go about those daily activities in our lives. So opposite side, left leg, securing yourself with whatever surface you've got in front of you. 10 more. 1, 2, 3. Make sure your speed is nice and consistent. 4, make sure toes are pointed straight in front of you. 5, your toe and your knee should be lined up, pointing in the same direction. Here's 6, 7, 8, 9, last one here, 10. All right, good job. Shake out the legs a bit, let them wiggle and hang loose. All right, so another really important thing about this exercise before we do a few more, as you're doing them, part of securing yourself is to keep your torso from helping with momentum. So if your torso is straight, your leg wants to be doing the work. Sometimes this is what, as we're rocking with our leg outward to the left, our torso wants to come to the right. But really try to limit that movement there. Keep your leg the active worker. And then also your distance. So sometimes if we're trying to get out really far, this is where we might start rocking. Your distance is going to depend on you. Everyone is going to work through a different distance at a different pace and time. So you might be starting small, and that might be what works for you. And then the more muscle you gain from that, you can go a little bit further as time goes on. But what you want out of this, you want to feel that in both of your side glute as you're doing the exercise on either side. And then you also want to limit any sort of pain or anything like that. So by reaching out really far, we don't need to get there quite. We need to feel this in the muscle that we're trying to work on. And we want to make sure we feel comfortable as we're doing it. Okay. We're going to add in something else to the end. So on number 10, we're going to do pumps. When you get to number 10, you're going to hold your foot outward. I'll count to 10 for some little pumps that look just like this, and then you'll bring your leg back in towards your body. So it's an extra hold in there. You'll feel it as we get there. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, find your control, 5, 6, the more we do, the more important it gets, 7, because we fatigue a little bit as time goes on, right? There's 8, but we've got it. Just keep pushing, we got it. 9, last one, we're gonna hold for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Bring it back in, let your legs hang loose, and we will switch onto the opposite side. Okay. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Last one. This is our holds for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Back in. Take your shake. We'll do one more set on either side. Good work. Keep it up. Also, as you're doing these, just like the balance exercises, you can keep a little bit of a soft knee. So that softness means that your knee doesn't have to be totally locked out straight. The little bit of softness, especially when you're relying on one leg and all of your weight is going down into it, will help protect your knee and your joints. Okay, here we go. Root down into your left foot. So this is our rooting, this is our lifting through that, making sure that we're not sinking into our hip. Foot comes out to the side. For 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, couple more, 9, this hold, you've got it, you've got it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Back in, take your shake, take a little wiggle, and we'll switch over. Now rooting down into our right foot. Okay, so putting all of your weight into that. really softening the knee, extending your hips out so that your torso is coming straight. Leg out to the side for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, last one and last hold for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Back in. Everybody's doing a wonderful job with that one. You can always start to feel it, especially towards like the second set. It's like, woof, I got a little bit more of these to go. All right, good work. We've got kind of over time here, but we'll do one more strengthening and a stretch to send us off for the week. The next strengthening is a fairly quick one. We do it for about a minute until this muscle in the front of our shin gets fatigued. And you can do it in a couple different ways. If you're still standing behind your chair and you'd like to do it standing, you can bring your feet together, putting all of the weight into your heels as you lift toes up to the ceiling. Okay, so your toes are repeatedly lifting, almost as if you've pulled them up and you're tapping the floor with them. You can do it 1 foot at a time if that feels a little more secure. You can walk around like a penguin. This is real, it's no joke. It may look like one when I just started doing it, but this is kind of constant, talk about time under tension, constant tension on that muscle if you put all of the weight into your heels, peeling your toes up towards the ceiling, using something secure. As you can tell, it's a little off-putting on your balance, so kind of using something to walk around or a countertop to walk along. And you can also do this seated as well. If you'd like the seated option, just lifting toes up towards the ceiling. This will have less resistance on it than anything from the standing position, just because your body weight is distributed much differently, but the muscle will still get the activity. We got maybe 20 more seconds of that. Everybody keep it up. If you're starting to feel some fatigue there, that's a good sign that you can call it and just take a little rest here in a seated or standing position. We're going to be standing for our stretch, so if you'd like to stay standing for a moment or two, you can shake the legs out. But you should be feeling this right along here. All right, there we are. We're going to do our stretch, and I guess it'll be till next time after that. Our stretch is our calf stretch. So this is really the last strengthening exercise that we did, and this stretch are working on the same, working on increasing mobility in our ankle joint. So as we strengthen the front of our shin, we have better pull on our toe, we have better clearance as we're walking. As we lengthen the back of our shin, our calf muscle, it kind of supports that same function. So the more length we have here, the more able we are to find some mobility at the joint. The more strength we have here, the more able we are to lift as we're walking, to make sure we've got that clearance and to avoid any sort of toe catching. So we stretch our calves. Everybody behind your chair or your surface, using it for support yet again. So really holding on tight or leaning down into it, whatever way feels good for you. We're going to take a step backward with one leg, making sure that heel, that back heel plants into the ground, and our front leg is going to be bent so that our knee is coming just over our toe, and then we're going to lean forward with our torso until we feel this moderate pull in the back leg calf. We're going to hold it for a little while. So make sure you've got a good support here for yourself. Make sure you're still pushing some strength down through your legs so that you're grounded. And that while we're standing here, you can feel some more comfort through this. Stretching is hard. You're holding a pose, but it's certainly hard to kind of stick with it for a long period of time there. But it's really valuable. All right, there we are. Bring your back foot up to meet the front foot. Step backwards with the opposite leg. Again, both heels are planted into the ground. Your back leg is relatively straight. Your front leg is bending. You're leaning forward into this. If you're having any trouble feeling it, you might want to try adjusting the space in between your legs. You might need a little bit, even an inch or so backwards further might help to feel it. And then also that lean, so maybe a little bit further of a lean will help you as well. And sending hips backwards just a bit. So kind of lifting from behind. And we are done for today. Stay tuned for more. There will be more. Really glad to see everyone out here today getting some balance exercise in. It's exciting to be able to share, as always. We love hearing back from you, so give us any feedback that you might have. If you've been working at it for a little while, you know, any progress that you're making or any questions, feel free to reach out with anything at all. And hopefully everyone stays safe and healthy through these days, and we'll continue to be here. We'll see you for next week. This is our send-off. Hopefully everyone's feeling balanced today, and I think that's all I've got. No special announcements to make or anything like that. No jokes. Maybe I'll come up with a joke before next time, something good. Like a good old knock-knock joke. All right. Hopefully everyone has a good week. Enjoy Monday, the rest of your Monday, and the rest of all the days in between. We'll see you next time.